Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Ogden, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, UCLA, fight.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show Network, with your hosts, Jake Merrifield, Bill Shirley, Jamaal Artis, and Mike Regalado, bringing you anything and everything UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
And welcome to What's Bruin, a special San Diego edition. I am your host, Bill Shirley.
Bill, you can't hear it, but I'm playing Do You Want More? Do You Want More? Do You Want More?
I think we got the answer to that.
I think we had the answer to that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for this this great CarCast edition.
Here we are. Car casting live from a small apartment in the Gaslamp District.
In the Gaslamp,
in San Diego.
It's great. It's great. UCLA defeats San Diego State 35-10. Could have been more. Could have been more. Do you want more? Yeah.
Let's play it again.
There you go. So let's talk about it. But before we do that, just want to make sure you can reach our show. Our number is, and by the way, Jake sent out is it a tweet? Is that what you sent out?
Yeah,
sent out a tweet to say call the show. That number is 805-399.
4 WBS, Sacramento and Troy.
Suck it.
God, you guys, I hate those guys.
Yeah, because
The
I'm looking
score's
at
like 42-0.
No, 42-3
in the first quarter or
Yeah.
second quarter or something.
against Stanford.
It's
It's really
obnoxious.
it's out of control.
But
so it's
The Golden Bears are winning, so
the Golden Bears are winning.
And
So
Megan's there.
Overall, it's still a good weekend for the Pac-12.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, we can't let that score go by without saying
Suck it, Stanford.
suck at Stanford. You
That's
guys
right.
suck. Oh my God.
Suck at Stanford. But still let my kids into your school. All right. So anyway,
That's true. But Bill, so we made an impromptu trip down to
San Diego.
San Diego.
It took us about 2.5 hours to get here. We dropped off your daughter.
It
at
actually took us
Bolsa.
like 5 hours to get here because when you take into our stops and then
Yeah. So
me
what do we
going in
do?
and out 3 times.
We first went to Bolsa Chica to drop off your daughter and her friend
with my mom.
with your mom. They had a wonderful time in that at that beach.
They did make it home alive.
Good.
Molly texted me.
After that, we stopped at In-N-Out / Arby's.
Oh yeah, that was good. Thanks for the roast beef sandwich.
That was right. I mean, I used to
treated.
work at Arby's as a teenager. It was crazy. I didn't eat meat when I was there, so it's crazy now that I eat meat. It's crazy to have a roast beef sandwich from there with horsey sauce.
Yeah.
It was good with curly fries.
I had a giant beef and cheddar.
You had a huge beef and cheddar that was ginormous.
I couldn't really eat. It like fell apart in my hands.
Exactly. And then we got on the road, and the traffic wasn't bad until we got to good old the 5 over by Oceanside, and that's where it took us the majority of the time. And we also actually in Oceanside stopped off, I believe, again at an In-N-Out to get your second refill of Diet Coke.
That's
Jake.
right. You got to do that because guess what? I wanted more. Right?
Yes, you did.
I did want more.
We didn't just stop there though. In the next city of Carlsbad, we stopped at the outlets because why? I wanted to go to the Nike store.
Bill had to go to the Nike store.
I had to see if there's any deals. Guys, I go there all the time. I don't usually buy anything. Maybe 1 out of every 4, I find a deal and I buy it. And this time wasn't one of those times I bought. I looked at it. It was pretty disorganized in there, and
We
the
did see
prices
some
weren't
Hello
good.
Kitty shoes.
We did see some Hello Kitty
It was a
shoes.
pretty small outlet store though.
It is. And so didn't do that. And then after that, we finally, and I'm not going to ruin my What's Bruin, but there were some adventures on the way to.
Well, you're not going to get a What's Brewing this week, so you better just say it.
Oh, I can't. I thought we were going to do a little
What's
West
Brewing
Bruins.
with you, Bill? What's
Okay.
Brewing with you, Bill?
Well,
'Cause you're not
my
gonna-
what's,
this is your appearance for the week.
okay. Well, this is how it is, guys. I love my boy Jake. Known him for many years, but he's not good with directions, guys. Even if he has a freaking phone in front of him with the map.
bullshit.
And by the way,
It's
this
a
map
one moment a week.
usually one long moment of
yeah,
weakness.
it lasted like 5 minutes.
Guys, when you have a phone, you can
Orient
you can orient it to where it's true north,
Yes.
or
How
have
any
it to
real
where
man should have his
everything
phone
is just
oriented.
pointing up, right? You're just sort of like following, and it goes. You know what I mean?
The chick mode. As
Yeah,
I like to call it.
okay,
You'll
well,
be in chick mode
guess
or
what?
real man mode.
Real man mode. Well, Jake was in real man mode, and how many times did you say "oops" and wrong? How many times did we see a dead end?
Probably
how many
about
times?
3.5 times.
Three or four
In
times,
about
guys.
5 minutes.
It's out of control, guys. It's out of control. How many times he said, "Oops"? Wait, I'm like, Jake, just go ahead and orient the map like everything's going
No,
up.
that's not what the problem was.
No, just
Google did me dirty.
Yeah. See, so as you can hear,
And-
Jake
and-
blamed
Well,
Google.
Number one, I blame Google. What else
Yes.
did I blame, Bill?
You blame the Merrifield curse.
My lineage, because The Merrifield family has a long list of times we've gotten lost in San Diego.
Yes.
Before Google Maps and all. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you hear this, guys. You hear all this stuff. And I was in the car with him. We were all over the place there. So it was a fun, I was laughing, but still funny. Like, I have to say this is my What's Brewing because this is out of control that you've gotten lost like 3 or 4 times in the last 15 minutes here.
But we did make it to the game, although we didn't have tickets until about like 1:30 in the afternoon.
We bought. That's another thing we did on the way here is that Jake bought tickets, right?
Yeah.
Jake bought tickets to the game. Here's the thing. He stopped. He dropped me off at my place. I've never been to the Gaslamp District, guys. I'm sure a lot of you out there have.
Lit.
It's
It's fire.
It's fire. Yeah, I guess Gaslamp and fire and lit. That good puns there. I went to the courtyard. Small room. Good price, but very small room. But that doesn't compare with Jake's place here.
My condominium.
Jake's Airbnb is even smaller than
It's literally like 12 by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 by 20, and it's
With a short
nice,
hallway.
but very small.
Yeah.
But
Bill's basically sitting on my lap right now for this podcast.
seriously,
It's pretty
this is
crazy.
out of control, tiny here. But either way, guys, we got down here, and let's talk about the game though. We get to the game. F parking. Oh my God! I have not been to a game in some time.
This will tell you how long it's been since Bill's been to a live
But
event.
I paid $45.
$45.
40. Once again, I'm going to say that out loud. $45 to park a car.
But
What the F?
But we were only about 100 yards from the stadium, which is nice. It wasn't like parking, $45 and being, a mile and a half away
I
at
get
the
it.
Rose Bowl.
I get it, but still,
I don't even know how much Rose Bowl parking is now, honestly, because I pay for it in advance. But I'll bet you I pay something like that.
is it really that? Has it
I don't
gotten
know.
that high?
I'll report back to you later. I got to look at
Oh
what I
my
got
God.
charged.
So anyways, guys, that was a little whatever. But here, I will say the Snapdragon Stadium is a nice stadium. They just redid it in
Really
the last 5-10 years?
Well, it just opened up this year.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm way off.
Last year, maybe.
Last year. So, guys, it is a awesome stadium. It seats about 35,000. Beautiful, new. It's not too big, not too small.
Lots of nice concessions. The lines weren't
Nice
that bad.
concession. Yeah, it was just nice. It was just a freaking nice place. And of course, Jake and I are going to talk about this now. The great part is just, it was a great place to be. The weather wasn't too crazy, a little humid, not too crazy to watch the game. And what's that game? UCLA versus San Diego State. Going into the game, we
Bruins.
talked about it already in the What's Bruin show. Talked about the San Diego's defense, which is pretty darn good. Offense isn't versus UCLA, and we didn't know who was going to start. Jake really wants to talk about something he mentioned many times during the game is the quarterback controversy. I'm going to put controversy in air quotes now because I don't think there's
controversy anymore.
I don't think there's a controversy. So we'll talk about that, but that's what the initial reactions and trip down to San Diego were. So let's get down to brass tacks here, Jake.
Well, I mean, so you talk about a game they win 35-10. They end up, it's 7-7 after the first quarter, right? But it still seemed pretty. Like I don't know, how did you feel about the game as a whole? Bill?
I thought in the beginning. Yeah, going in,
how'd you
they
feel
were filling
and
each other out. They were filling each other out. Both defenses, I think it was 3 and outs for both sides, just sort of filling out everything. UCLA was stopping the run. Their San Diego's quarterback wasn't really throwing that much in the first.
Yeah,
the
they trade
first
3 and
part.
outs. Yeah, and then UCLA gets a second drive out there. They have another 3 and out, but on the 3rd and 8 play, Moore stands in the pocket as they blitz him, and then he throws a beautiful pass to Loya,
Who drops it?
and he drops it.
Yes, but it was a beautiful pass. It was the right read, everything, but he dropped it. So it's like, okay, he made the right decision. And it kept on going like that, right? Until finally it was, I believe UCLA scored first. Am I correct, Jake?
On their third drive, all the way, one play, Josiah Norwood, 81 freaking yards.
Yeah.
Great play.
And that's the thing. Here's I want to say this about it. Like, one thing I noticed in the game, and I mentioned it to Jake during the game, is that, I feel bad for Garbers, but it was something. I looked at the body language of Moore. I looked how calm he was out. I don't know how you could see it on TV, but in person, he was just really cool as a cucumber. He didn't have jumpy feet out there. He got in most cases, outside the one time where he got stripped, he got the ball out quick. He made the right reads. Most of his throws were on point. It was like, yeah, man, it's sort of hard for me to say Garbage should get another chance when this guy is just looking really darn good. His throws were awesome. What was the total offense just in the first half, Jake?
Oh, geez. So at the end of the first half, and we'll talk more about how they broke it open, but they ended up having 360 or 358 yards after the first half in 10 freaking minutes of offense.
Yeah.
And the reason it was only 10 minutes of offense is because let's pull up the drive chart here. They ended up going, they punt, then they punt, then they go TD, 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 bam, 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 punt, TD, half.
Yeah.
Right? So 4 out of their last 5 drives to end the half are touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it just it was just, just terrific how they just kind of took control of it. Harden ends up popping a 50-yard touchdown. Carson Steele ends up getting a second touchdown as a Bruin on their 4th drive. And then let's see what else. There was one other big play to end the half, I want to say. And then on the drive to the second to last drive before the half, they hit a Havermill down the middle of the field right as Bill calls for it. He's like, they haven't really gone to the tight end a lot lately. And then there's the 60-yard pass to Havermill. Yeah. And then they end up scoring. Loya redeems himself with a touchdown pass at the other. And so it's 28-10 by that time. And then SDSU has the ball ready to, they have the opportunity to score going in the half. The Bruins get another stop. And then they actually zip down the field again and get it inside, almost got themselves a field goal try. It's just they didn't have any timeouts left. Yeah. But and then as San Diego State comes out in the second half, they end up going 3 and out again. Kamari Ramsey lays a big hit. And then the Bruins end up winning the middle 8, which is nice.
That's what I want to talk about. The middle 8, though, Jake, is something that they didn't do a good job with Coastal Carolina, but they did a good job this time.
Absolutely.
They scored before the half. They stopped them after the half. And it was good to see. It was good to see, and that changed the whole makeup of the game. Now, the biggest thing about this game, well, let me just stop there. Did you want to say anything more about the first half, Jake, before we get to what, to me, was the best part of the whole game?
No, it's just we were sitting there going, well, is Moore going to keep coming back out? And he kept coming back out, and he kept coming back out. And, they just generated so much offense in that first half that by the time they were done with it, it was like, holy crap. So let's find the first half stats here real quick. So at the end of the first half, like I said, the Bruins had rang up 355 yards. They were rushing at 9.5 yards per rush. They were passing, I want to say it was something ridiculous, but 19 for 11 for 227 yards. And just they're only 2 for 6 on third down because they barely got to third down, right? Average yards per play was at 10.8. And they had 10 minutes of possession. And on the flip side, San Diego State had only 150 total yards, and they were at, where's their yards per play here? I just lost it. Yards per play. 4 yards per play, which is, once again, the defense was out on the field for 20 minutes of the first half and ended up really bottling up San Diego State. We thought that San Diego State was going to have a pretty poor pass offense, which kind of really played out true in the first couple drives, and then they kind of got it going. And and the corners, UCLA corners once again were kind of giving up plays. It was like right in front of us going into on the drive that they actually scored their touchdown on. The first on the left side, what's his name, number 6. Gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But he got burnt down the sideline, and then going the other way, the other corner got burnt in the end zone, kind of just turned around. The ball was there, and they scored their touchdown. But that turned out to be, I looked at you and I said, if this is their only drive they really get off, then this is still going to be a good defensive performance for the Bruins. And it turned out to be that way. They really never really got anything going. And, that was the first half for you. Just dominance by the end of the first half.
So let's talk about that. So the defense played pretty darn well, right? Outside of that one, scoring drive. Where the secondary didn't, stop it. UCLA's offense started getting into the flow of things near the second part of the first quarter and the second quarter.
I scored them 21-3 in the second quarter.
And then you're looking at the running backs. I thought today Chip used the running backs a little bit more equally. I don't know, this eyeballing it. I felt like Harden was out there more this time than the first game, right?
I know. Let's actually see how many carries he ended up having.
I'm talking in the first half. I'm just talking in the first half. I think it just seems like they had a better balance of Steele and.
Well, last week they had the same amount of yardage each, but I don't remember if the carries were even. This time, Harden gets 9 carries for 91 yards, pretty darn good, 10 yards a carry. But Carson Steele, not to be, he wasn't crappy either. I mean, 12 for 84. For 7 yards. But the big one is Harden bursted one for 59 yards, right? That's what really, that was his key moment. But what did you think of Carson? I'm going to play the Superman drop. You can't hear it, Bill, but I know we're still kind of like in between summarizing the game or whatever, but let's just go on to like just talking about what you saw in person now that you've seen the Bruins first game of the season you've attended this year.
Yeah, man.
Because you didn't work
like
there
I said,
last week.
I thought it was.
But what do you think about the two running backs? Like, which one really popped for you? Because I think
they both did
both,
well.
right?
There was nothing like, oh, this one's way better than the other one. No. It was they both could run up the middle, and they were at least it seemed like they were averaging
delivering blows on contact. Too.
Yeah, yards after catch or not yards after contact were good for both of them. They usually fell forward or got another yard or so. They both had that speed because it's funny you say that Harden had that breakaway and then all of a sudden no one could catch him, right? Yeah. It's not like, look, San Diego is not the best team, but it's not like they don't have athletes.
And they have a decent defense.
They have a decent defense. Yeah, I mean they have athletes, and those guys couldn't catch them. So it's like they both had some breakaway speed. At least in this game, and it was good to see that. It was good to see. So I couldn't say one over the other. They were both good, and I liked how they were both being used.
And I think that's great. I think back to not last year, but the year before when they had Zach Charbonnet and Britton Brown together, and they really were very complementary backs. I don't know if we have a dominant back like Charbonnet in this backfield, because I think they both have strengths and weaknesses. But Carson Steele, I thought he played better this week than he played last week, and I didn't mind how he played last week either. It's just there weren't as many opportunities, it didn't seem, because they were worried with they're trying to get Garbers' time and Mora's time, and I think the more focus was on that. Mm-hmm. As far as like the plays go, I'm looking forward to like going back and watching the game and seeing exactly what they called, like how that was the mix. But as far as just eyeballing it, I was surprised with how many times they dropped back to pass as opposed to how many times they ran. Because if you look at Harden and Steele, they only combined for 21 carries, and Moore dropped back and passed 27 times.
Wow.
So I mean, when the game was in, when they were still playing the starters, they were very, very pass heavy. And I want to say with Chip's teams with the Bruins in the past, it's been much closer to 50-50.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit pass heavy. I think one of the years they were a little bit run heavy. I have to go back and look. But that is definitely leaning towards passing. I mean, the only reason they kind of got more imbalance is because of the end, the garbage time with Schlee. By the way, we'll talk about Schlee in a minute.
Yeah.
But that was all run, basically. I think he was like, 5-1 running.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they. So we talked about the running backs and how I think we have two good backs and they both bring something to the table. But do you want more, right? He played basically all the meaningful snaps in the game.
Yeah.
Ethan Garbage was sitting on the sideline, and I think, towards the end we saw a little bit of BBL, which is completely excusable, by the way. He just was he looked a little mopey. But we get it, man, and we feel bad. But just tell me how you felt about watching Moore out there. Did he look like a Frosh playing his second game ever?
No.
In NCAA football?
That's what I'm saying. He was cool
insane.
It was just like it didn't look, from what we saw body language wise, and he wasn't herky jerky. He seemed very calm. It was just amazing. Like, this is a freshman. Is he going to make freshman mistakes? Yeah, he made one tonight where he didn't.
And that was kind of borderline. I didn't see the replay, but it's still like, you need to tuck it. You need to take care of the ball in that situation.
Yeah, or get rid of it quicker. You have to have an internal clock. But the point is, it's like, if that's the only thing I'm complaining about, I mean, come on. We're good.
He ends up 17 for 27, 290 yards. He had 224 at the half, by the way. So, I mean, that shows you how prolific he was.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns and 189 or 190 passing rating, basically.
It was just sick. It was great. Now, let's talk about the defense the first half. The defense, other than that, the initial drive, the drive that you mentioned earlier, where the two cornerbacks were getting used all the way down the field. The defense was pretty darn good, especially against the run. They never really had a big breakout run. They
ended up 39 yards on 20 carries. I want to say, a 2-yard average in the first half. You think that's going to get it done?
2 yards.
You think that's going to get it done?
That's insane. Yeah. So the run defense was good. What's
this was name? A pretty pitiful offense for sure.
Yeah, Latu.
He got a sack.
He got another sack.
Up to 4. He's averaging 2 a game.
I do want to say, I did want to comment on the Twins, even though I'm biased. I do have to say that they have to. They're talented guys, but man, some of the things they do, like the false starts from last week and the personal foul against the quarterback this week for one of the Twins. It's just like, you guys, I don't mind the aggressiveness. Of course, I love that you want to get to the quarterback, but you got to play a little bit smarter. You got to play smarter. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying it just seems like there's usually a mistake from one or both of them each week, and it's only been 2 games, so hopefully it goes away. But are you feeling me on this one, Jake?
No, I am. No, I totally am. But with that being said, they had 6 false starts as a team last week, I think.
Yeah.
And they ended up with how many, Bill, today?
Not false starts, offsides, Jake.
Offsides, yeah, thank you. How many today?
None.
Not a one.
Yeah.
And really, as a team, like they ended up doing pretty well as far as on the penalties. I want to say, what did they end up with? Because they had a couple holdings there on that one drive. Where'd the penalties go? I can't find it. But, well, right here. 7 for 89 is not great. 7 for 89 is not great.
Okay.
But I guess what we could say is they were all contained to like 1 or 2 drives.
Yes.
So if you're going to do it like that, then I guess that'll work for you, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So first half, that was it. The second half is where everything just sort of just
celebration time.
Celebration. I mean, it was so cool. So we were sitting around, we were sitting next to a Bruin couple. It was nice to meet them. But mainly it was, Aztecs around us. And
yeah, we were like on the 30-yard line on the Bruin sideline.
it was
right at
nice.
the back
Like I
of the
said,
section.
it was
Very
nice. But the point was that I mentioned it earlier, this is, we're looking at a drive where it was almost out of reach, right? It was, I think near the end of the third quarter, Jake, where this happened?
Yeah, so they come out of halftime. There's a 3-and-out for San Diego State. UCLA comes out. They have a 3-and-out where Loya drops another third down play. Aztecs come out, and Alex Johnson picks them off. That was a good play by Johnson.
Yeah.
And then right there, Moore ends up getting stripped at the goal line, that freshman Sager we're talking about, and the Aztecs get the ball not on the 1-yard line, Bill.
But as the Aztec fan in front of me said,
very upset.
He said, you're giving him too much credit. You're not a real Bruin fan. You're saying 1-yard line. It was a 4-inch line, man. He kept on saying it. He was a little tipsy, but it was all good.
Yeah. He was so pissed because
he was so pissed.
The Aztecs get the ball inside the 1.
Inside the 1.
And what happens, Bill?
And I looked at Jake, I said, Jake, well, I'm not even going to sit here and whatever. They're going to freaking score in this first drive. All they do is just sneak it in.
Yeah, and we thought we were looking at it. I mean, I literally, in my game notes, put, because first they called it a TD, and then they had to review it, and they decided it's on the 4-inch line.
I'm like, just give it to
But
them.
in my notes,
whatever.
I'm like, oh, it's UCLA 28, Aztecs 17, and now all of a sudden it's. Did you really feel at that point that the game was in doubt?
No, but I didn't want
I didn't at all, but you didn't want to be that close, right?
Yeah. So I was like, this is a little frustrating, but just hurry up and score so we can get the ball back.
And then go score.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like.
The replay official says, not so fast.
Yeah.
Puts the ball on the 4-inch line. And then the Bruins go on to
this is the greatest thing.
First.
They stuff them up. They do a handoff, and they stuff them. Not only do they stuff them, but they lose like a half a yard.
Yeah. At that point, Bill's like standing up. He's like,
I'm like, wait a second, guys.
They can't possibly do this.
I said, there's no way, guys. And I'm saying it out loud, just as loud, right? I'm like, there's no way that you guys don't score. There's just no way. If you guys don't score, this is over. This game is just over. Just give up. And I'm saying that. I'm just saying it out like there's no freaking way you guys don't score. All you have to do, their quarterback is a huge dude. All you do is sneak it in. That's all you do. Just go 3 plays of sneak, and I think at some point you'll get it. So what
How
are they
many
doing?
sneaks did they call?
Not one, Jake.
Not a one.
Not one. And the second play.
And the guy was like, they have a safety playing quarterback, and we can't call one quarterback sneak. But anyhow.
But it was great. That second play, they try to go to the left. We stop them there. And
we thought it was a fumble.
We thought it was a fumble. We're like, oh, my God. And then the third play.
They spread it to run.
And they don't run. They actually pass, and we tip it and
OMG.
get the ball. And I'm just going bananas. And I'm just looking around like, you guys, are you kidding me? We're
basically
insane.
like WWE, like Attitude Era, like Degeneration X, like, doing X's on our crotches.
Like,
it's
it's
SDSU
over.
Fans. It was bad there.
It was over. So, your boy Jake and I were getting a little loud there.
Crowing like roosters.
Yeah.
Like Chanticleers.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And that, to me, was the turn. That was a great stand for the defense. Bad play calling on the offense for San Diego, but
terrible.
it was great to see.
Terrible.
It was great to see our defense do that.
But then the Bruins get the ball back and they get on the 20 because it ends up being a touchback, right?
Yes.
So they get the touchdown. And then what do? Dante Moore's, kind of the coup de grace he lays on, drives him right down the field. Kyle Ford finally gets a couple catches. I was very happy to see that because he had been kind of like in the decoy routes for most of the game, except for when they put Cam Brown into his role, and then Cam Brown got a couple. But anyways, Kyle Ford gets a little action. That was kind of like the Kyle Ford drive. They get him down the field.
Yes.
And then they hit Carson Ryan with a very easy TD, another like two 2 weeks in a row, we've gotten a beautiful sidearm delivery throw from Dante Moore. Do you want more? I think I do. And the Bruins are up 35-10, and at that point, it's just an absolute laugher.
Yeah.
Because-
and so and then this is something where I was in the restroom for half of this, but Schlee comes out in the fourth.
Well, hold on. There's one more drive. The SDSU gets the ball back. They're down 35-10. They drive to midfield, get inside the 20, and then they have a 3rd and 1 again.
Oh, that's
Third
right.
one again.
And then they have an illegal substitution.
They take a penalty, ends up being, or they get stuffed on 3rd and 1. Then they get the 4th and 1, and then they take a penalty, and then the Bruins stop them. So it's like, Bill, before we get to the garbage time with my man Schlee, how would you characterize this Bruin, the Bruin defense in this game? Was it a Bruin defensive win, or was it a Bruin defense taking advantage of how incompetent San Diego State happened to be?
I think it's the second one. I think it's B.
So you're more of that in that column. It's a little bit Bruin defense. It's a little bit Bruin defense.
It's a Bruin defense, but once again, if you're an offense with a 6'5" ginormous quarterback, and you can't you choose not to choose not to sneak it in.
That's criminal.
That is insane.
It's criminal.
So bro, your offense is bad. So I think some of this was taking advantage of what the offense gave them. The offense gave them they literally laid down flowers for our defense. We'll see what happens as we move forward with the defense. But look, they took advantage of it. That's what a defense should do, and it's going to pad their stats.
And on our Substack, I wrote an article right before the season started, and it was like the Bruin defense wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was, and now they're going to be even better, or something like that to that account. And it's playing out so far this season, and it's going to be better next week too. So they're going to have gaudy stats by the time we get out of the non-con.
Yeah.
And then the Pac-12, all bets are off, because I think we're all very worried about what any team with any sort of passing acumen is going to do.
Oh,
but
God, help
I don't know. I didn't see the Coastal score today. I'll have to look that up. But it's obvious today. Even San Diego State, which was absolutely DOA as far as passing goes, they managed to get a little bit going today, at least for part of this game. So, there is a little bit that's they don't have that quite sewn up. So, we do have to have a little bit of that to worry about. But I agree with you, Bill, when you make the assessment that it was a little more of SDSU having a terrible offense. But we do still have to give the Bruin defense credit for what it is. Kind of like we did 2 years ago with LSU. Right in that game, where we're like, oh my gosh, this defense really has changed.
Yeah.
And then last year they started out pretty hot, and they ended up getting playing so well that they managed to get the win over Washington before we end up getting eviscerated by Oregon. Look, they haven't gotten murdered yet. There haven't been really a lot of bad plays, and they've actually made a lot of good plays. They have 5 interceptions, I want to say, in 2 weeks. So let's enjoy this while it lasts, at least, and hope for the best, because they are going to have more gaudy stats next week.
Yes, they will. And then it's going to get a little rough after that at Utah.
It could get rough. Let me give you your Coastal Carolina update today, because they were in a tight battle with Jackson State, but they ended up winning 30-16. And how much offense did they put up? Grace McCall ended up throwing for 270 yards at a 9.2 average and 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So, let's just say it like this. The Bruins definitely bottled up San Diego State's offense today. Agreed?
Yes.
At this point, they held Coastal to below what their averages are going to be for the season last week. Can we agree on that right now?
Yes.
I think that's what it looks like. So, 2 good defensive performances out of the Bruins so far this season. That's not anything to sneeze at. So I am happy about that. Now, Bill, I want to get to my favorite part of the game, other than watching Do You Want More throw a bunch of touchdowns, and Colin, what's my guy, Carson Steele, running for touchdowns, and Harden and all that stuff. And we didn't even get to it. In the first half, Bill.
Yes.
What did you think about the Michael Sturdivant drive? Because it was funny. Let me lay out this before you get to it. Did it seem like to you, like I said last week, that the Bruin offense, not only was he trying to figure out who his quarterback was, but it also seemed like there was a little bit of, I have all these toys to play with, and I'm not sure what I want to play with right now, but I'm going to try this and I'm going to try that. But it didn't seem like today there were particular drives, like there was the J. Michael Sturdivant drive, and then there was the Kyle Ford drive, and then there was the Carson Steele drive. Like that was kind of interesting. I wonder if that kind of continues on because there was the Cam Brown drive too, where it's like they end up getting 20 yards Cam Browns and they go right back to it and right back to it. What did you think about the Sturtevant drive? Because that was pretty fun.
I loved it. I was talking
right in
trash
front of
because
us.
it was. I kept on saying, they threw it to him and there was a PI, and I think it was 3rd and something, but they got the refs called PI against the defense. UCLA got the first down, and then I think they threw it again, and the same thing happened again. 2 PIs on the same drive against San Diego State while guarding Sturtevant.
And Sturtevant was just like waving his hands up in the air. It's
Yeah,
like, give me the ball,
oh
give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. It was beautiful.
And so they kept throwing to him, and it was cool because near the end he did actually catch one without it being a PI, and he got him pretty darn close before I don't know who scored, but it was sort of cool. And I think you're right though, Jake. It seems like they call someone's number and they go for that because they did sort of like the same thing with Kyle Ford. It was the same. It was on the right side of the field, closest to us, on the UCLA side of the field for both Sturtevant and Kyle Ford when all these passes started going their way.
Yeah, and the same thing happened with Cam Brown too.
Yeah,
they had the same thing. So it was really kind of funny how that worked.
Yeah. So it was just fun. It was fun to see. We laughed at that. We scored on that drive, but it was just funny. It was just funny to see. I wish they threw it to him more. Right, I really do. This game was more about the wideouts, the slot receiver, 1 or 2 to the tight end, but a lot of running back as well too. I just want to. I want to see them use Kyle Ford more. I think Kyle Ford can be.
That's my guy.
Yeah, I really think he could be even more useful to the team. Sturtevant was used a lot last week, so it wasn't like he's not getting anything. But I think Kyle Ford seems like a really good option here. But let's see. It just seems like Jake was saying, Chip is playing with all the toys, trying to figure out which ones work best.
And with that being said, there was 11 different receivers that caught a pass in this game, which is like, okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's fun to see. I hope that we get like a sync going to where in the season we have our go-tos. DTR love for what's his name?
Greg Dulcich.
That's right. That's the guy. And so that was DTR security blanket. As we move forward now with which I am assuming is more. We're gonna find out who his security blanket is. And it could be number 1. It could be Sturtevant. I don't know, but. We're gonna find that guy moving forward.
As much as I love Kyle Ford and I want to see him succeed, when you look at like how it played out on the field, if you didn't have the stats in front of you, who would you say is the alpha dog when you're talking about?
One.
It's got to be Sturtevant, right? Like it is like so obvious at this point that he is the freaking guy.
Yeah.
But with that being said, who also was a very favorite target in this offense? It was Logan Loya.
Yeah.
Logan Loya led the team in targets tonight with 6 targets. Sturtevant right behind him with 5. And obviously, catches-wise, it was 4 for Loya with 2 drops, and then 2 for basically everybody else, and then 1 for a couple guys chipping in. But, it's just, especially now watching it live for 2 weeks in a row, Sturtevant is he's on another level. I'm actively rooting for them to keep Ford involved. I'm a big Carson Steele fan, obviously. I like TJ Hart and all these other guys, but my God, it just jumps out at you how Sturtevant is.
Yeah.
And so, that's a guy that, I think we're going to see some wonderful things out of him for the rest of the season. Now, I'm sorry, Bill, before we go out and, drink and carouse in Gaslamp Quarter.
Yeah.
Colin Schley.
By the way, Washington State won and beat Wisconsin.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
And the Bears right now are up 10-7. Megan is at the game right now. It's in the third quarter. We're hoping that the Bears can pull out this win against Auburn, but they're driving right now. So cross your fingers for the old Bears. But garbage time. We had a couple key performers, big time ballers that jumped off the page for us again, or on off the field for us. Number 1 is Colin Schley. He got mop-up duty ahead of Ethan Garbers, as promised by Chip Kelly. He promised that Schley would see the field, and it really didn't disappoint because, oh my God, they come in and instantly they're running a whole different offense. They're basically running just an option offense where Schley is going to pull the ball every third, fourth time, but you were in the can for his first big carry, but he pulls the ball. I think it was the second play out there, and he pulls the ball and runs down the middle of the field, and he almost broke off their safety, didn't quite, and gets tackled for it was like a 30-yard gain, I want to say. And then later in the game, he has another opportunity to get outside. I don't remember if it was like off of he pulled it or if it was off of a scramble, but he gets down the left sideline from Worseting.
Trucks a dude.
And just delivers a blow going out of bounds. And I was like, I love this fucking man. Like, I instantly, I love this man. Now, don't get me wrong. The starting quarterback for the Bruins, and I definitely want more. But I am hoping they find time to get Colin Schlee to play.
It's a nice change of pace.
It's just a change of pace, right? Get out there, and this kid is a senior. He can sacrifice his body. Who the hell cares, right? He can just play with reckless abandon. And
it's one more thing for the defense,
to worry
opposing
about.
defense to worry about. Yeah.
Oh my God. And so I'm like, it's another, toy for Chip to play with, but it's like, that was super fun to watch. And I'm very excited about any sort of Schlee action we get. It's going to be interesting to see, with this quarterback room, to me, it's now, it's sad to say, but it's like the depth chart is Dante Moore, number 1, Colin Schlee, number 2 in my eyes.
Yeah.
Just because of what he brings, right? How he is. I don't know if he's a package guy anymore because I just don't know if Garber's look, if Moore gets, God forbid he gets hurt or something, you wonder who. I think I guess it's the wrong way to put it. I think Garber's is still going to be the guy that gets the first crack at it.
Yeah.
But I see a world in which, God forbid, we don't want Dante Moore to get hurt. But if for some reason he is out of the game, I think it's another quarterback competition. It's Garbers versus Schlee. And do I have any confidence that Garbers would win that job at this point? No. I really don't.
No.
And that's a weird thing to say.
It's sad, but it's the truth.
But there's going to be that same, and it's kind of like this too. It's like we were talking about last week how with Garbers, it's not like he was set up to fail, but just the dynamic of what's involved. There are forces universal forces colluding against him because he's the guy that's been sticking loyal to the program and he gets the first crack at it. But everybody wants to see the 5-star come on the field, right?
Yeah.
And then when he gets out there and he actually has a great first drive and he throws a touchdown or an interception in the second drive and then he kind of struggles a little bit and then Moore comes in there and instantly ignites the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd at the Rose Bowl was instantly ignited when he got out there. And then Garbers struggles a little bit more and then Moore comes out and throws a touchdown on one play last week, right? It was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. And you knew the writing was on the wall that Garbers had to play perfect to win the job back.
Yeah.
And guess what? He didn't even get a chance to play.
He didn't get a chance to play. So he might get a chance to play. But I don't think there's a controversy anymore.
There is nothing that's going to be determined when they play that FCS team next week.
Yeah.
There's no way that Moore is not starting quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
Based on this performance. Because if Moore would have come out today and struggled and gotten his head turned into a canoe by a San Diego State defense that was throwing stuff at him that he couldn't figure out. But is that what we saw?
No.
Oh hell no! The dude dropped 360 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
It's done. So now it's like the next time Moore goes out, let's say if there is an opportunity for Garbers to go out again, now all of a sudden the Schlee has all this experience as a starter.
Yeah.
It's obvious to me just watching the few plays he was on the field. He is a crafty veteran.
Yeah.
Garbers just didn't have that experience. So now he's on the downside of the equation in that way too.
Yeah, it's pretty
So,
bad.
oh my
and,
God.
and I was talking about this on the way here, on the way to San Diego. It was think about Justin. Is it Justin Thomas?
Justin Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I saying Justin Thomas? Justin Martin.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's number 4, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. So it's like, look. If
I'm really curious to see how this depth chart kind of sorts out.
But it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it sorts out. But I don't think there's really any more intrigue after today. Between last week and this week, it's like, you gotta, some people disagree with my opinions, but I was like, you just try give Garber
Bill got
another
trolled
shot,
on YouTube,
which is totally fine,
big time.
But I think going in, after this game, it's like, man, yeah,
it's settled.
It's done.
Yeah,
it's done.
Settled. All right. Well, Bill, let's. I'm getting hungry.
Yes.
Let's go get some food and get something to drink.
Let's rock and
go
roll,
see what
guys.
Gaslamp's all about. I'll come back, and hopefully you have called in with a bunch of calls, and we'll get back and answer calls in just a minute. But Bill, until next time, you'll talk to the people in a week or two. But
Yes.
until next time, what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Fight, fight, fight!
Alrighty, I'm back. After Bill and I went out on the town a little bit, we went to a wonderful little Cuban bar called Havana 1920. He had a Cuban sandwich, and I had a beefsteak sandwich, and a couple really good rum drinks. And then we walked around the gas lamp for a little bit, and now I'm back after the press conferences are all done. And the things I took out of those just briefly are Kelly still being very coy about the starting quarterback. I don't think we have any questions about who the quarterback is going to be. Obviously, you know where we stand. Even Bill now is convinced after thinking that Garbers is going to be it for the season. It's a bold prediction. Turns out that that's not going to happen. But Chip was still, I'll make up my mind when I make up my mind. And so far I haven't made up my mind. And the quarterback situation is still up in the air because Dante Moore is a really special freshman and Garbers is a really special quarterback. And Colin Schlee deserves some time too. And you saw how shifty it is. That's kind of what Chip said. So we'll see. I mean, we all saw with our eyes what we saw. There's absolutely nothing that's going to be determined in the next game. I don't think even if he plays everybody, going into conference season, it's really just silly to think that it's not Dante Moore at this point, I think. But when that becomes official, who the heck knows? Also, he talked to Dante Moore, and we found out that this is his second trip to San Diego. He came with his parents once and did some training down here and stayed in Coronado Island. Worst place to stay, of course. Hopefully the Bruins get a little bit of celebration time tonight before they head back to L.A., but we will see. But he was talking about how he found out that he was going to start the day or yesterday, basically, and how the quarterback room is still tight, and how he felt it was real special for him to be on the road and getting the win. And it sounds like he's already been through all of the different classes on how to give a proper interview. He was obviously very polished right from the get-go, so that's pretty cool too. And then we got Alex Johnson, the man of the hour on defense, getting 2 INTs in this game. And I didn't realize that he got both of them until after, and I saw the interview actually. But just a baller, man, which is what we're going to get to next. Who were our ballers in this game? We'll start with Mr. Austin Jackson. He is
just a baller, man.
And staying with the defense, Liatu Latu had another sack. That gives him 4 on the season.
He's just a baller, man.
And on offense, I mean, gosh, we have to start with Dante Moore, of course. Almost 300 yards at a frosh, 3 touchdowns, and just absolutely balled out.
Just a baller, man.
And Colin Schlee. We got to see him for the first time, and I think he showed that he definitely has something to offer the Bruins, and with those shifty moves. And Kelly wouldn't admit that it was a different sort of style, but with our eyeballs, we saw it. Dante Moore and Colin Schlee, different styles of dudes, both ballers.
He's just a baller, man.
Logan Loya, nice touchdown. Also, a couple drops, but he's still a baller.
Just a baller, man.
Michael Sturdivant, a whole drive all on his own.
Just a baller, man.
Carson Ryan getting to the end zone again.
He's just a baller, man.
That offensive line allowing the Bruins to rack up the 290 yards in offense or on passing and 254 rushing. 254. Good Lord, offensive line.
Just a baller, man.
And then Carson Steele and T.J. Harden. Good Lord.
Just a baller, man.
I think the running back stable is in fine condition right now as we look at it. So very excited to see what those guys are going to do the rest of the year. And then, we saw he was a transfer from Cal, ends up leading the team in tackles today. Olufemi Oladejo, he was all over the ball. He certainly acquitted himself well today.
Just a baller, man.
And Darius Musa with a couple super timely TFLs, and just he looked like he had a pretty good game as well. 6 total tackles.
Just a baller, man.
Kamari Ramsey with the big hits.
He's just a baller, man.
And just all around, just a great day for the Bruins out there against San Diego State, kicking butt and making it a great trip for Bruin fans that made the trek down to San Diego.
UCLA! UCLA! Fight, fight, fight!
All right, well, let's get to the calls. Thank you once again for calling in. The phone number is 805-399-4WBS, second round Troy. And let's see who's up first.
Well, you know who our starter is, which is awesome, hopefully. I'm going to guess that Schlee and Garbers will start the next game. I'm sorry. Schlee will start, and then Garbers will come in. Or maybe Moore. Hopefully Moore will get some playing time. Currently watching Arizona State in the beginning kind of manhandle Oklahoma State. Pac-12 is now 19-1. Hopefully we can get 13-1. Hopefully 15-1 after these last 2 games. But defense looked way better. Moore looked awesome, and go Bruins.
Thanks, Des, for calling. I was bummed. I watched the end of the Auburn-Cal game, which my daughter Megan was at, and they weren't able to pull it out, and Jay Knott got hurt. So that's a big bummer for the Bears, screw those War Eagles. But yeah, we'll see who starts next week. Kelly obviously was like super coy about it. I still feel like it's going to be Moore, just because it would just be weird not to at this point. But you're right. It could be anything, and who the hell knows. But I don't think there's anything we're going to learn after next week's game, obviously, because it's the FCS game, and it all of the meaningful competitions in the books, and it looks like Moore won that handily at this point. All right, who's next?
Jake, Mike, guys, I know I have 3 minutes. I'm not going to take up 3 minutes. Anyway, 35-10. What a victory. Manny, Andrew, and I were heading back to Long Beach. Great victory. Our Bruins, our defense, they stepped it up. We'll take it. 25-point win, we'll take it. Right, Andrew? Right, Manny? That's right. We got it. Thank you. Go Bruins.
Well, thank you, boys. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was you guys on CBS. I think Leo was repping the What's a Bruin shirt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are doing the 8-clap or cheering. So good freaking job. And I'm glad you had a good trip. And happy trails back to Long Beach. Excellent work. Go Bruins.
So, seems like Dante Moore is the starter now. Is it time to change the drop from asking us, do we want more, to a more celebratory more from Andrea True Connection?
Oh, yeah, I like it. This sounds pretty good. I always have trouble taking drops off the board, but certainly have no problem adding them. And so I think that's going to make it on there. The only problem I see is if I play it too much, am I going to get a copyright on YouTube? But let's go. But thanks for the suggestion, because I don't think I would have pulled that one myself, and it is absolutely fitting, so good job. All right, well, it is Sunday morning, and I want to get this posted, so I will let it go for now. We will be back, me and Mike, on Tuesday to wrap up all the odds and ends of this game and look forward to the FCS game this coming week. Hopefully we'll see you at the Rose Bowl. If you want a sticker, come see me, 2nd 17. I'll bring some with me out there this week. And otherwise, call the hotline, 805-399-4WBS. Send us an email at what'sbruinshow@gmail.com. And, just subscribe on the YouTube, subscribe on the Apple feed, rate us, review us, do all those good things so that we get this out there more during football season. But until next time, thank you very much. And if you came down to San Diego, drive safely back home, and go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got it.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's gotta be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.